Most people associate a midlife crisis with buying a sports car or quitting a job. For someone with pathological narcissism, however, this period triggers a sudden, violent psychological collision. Their identity is built on a specific architecture. The narcissistic personality serves as a structural defense mechanism, relying entirely on external validation, what psychologists call supply, to mask deep, unconscious feelings of inadequacy and emptiness. Early adulthood often camouflages this pathology. Society naturally rewards their intense ambition, their relentless energy, and their obsessive focus on physical attractiveness or career climbing. They construct an entire persona around this external feedback, moving through their 20s and 30s under the assumption that this well of admiration will never run dry. Because their self-worth is anchored to a fantasy of limitless potential and uniqueness, they develop a critical blind spot. They subconsciously operate as if they have infinite time to reach their idealized state. This creates a terminal tension with biological reality. The foundation of their identity is built entirely on depreciating assets: youth, physical looks, and early career momentum. They fail to prepare emotionally for the aging process. Their delusion of grandeur makes them feel uniquely immune to the physical decline and average outcomes that happen to everyone else. By living strictly for future perfection, they speed blindly toward a biological wall they refuse to acknowledge exists. This chart shows where finite time runs out on unreachable dreams. The central red dot is the midlife collision, the mathematical impossibility of fantasies surviving time's erosion. As biological reality drops, physical appearance erodes and professional status plateaus, stripping away their source of self-worth. This cracked pillar illustrates the resulting identity collapse. As the text at the bottom highlights, once the physical and social vehicles for grandiosity erode, the narcissist's internal core of inadequacy and shame is violently exposed. Psychologists call this mortification. It is a state of profound emotional collapse, where the individual is stripped of their defenses and forced to confront their own severe limitations. This collapse results in a state of terror and a profound subjective experience of inescapable loneliness. When their identity crumbles, they rarely face the truth. Instead, their immediate reaction is destructive. They frantically attempt to reset their lives through maladaptive escapism. This might involve impulsive divorces, reckless substance abuse, or demanding unearned authority to regain a sense of power. Many seek out much younger partners in an attempt to simulate a fresh start. It is a tactic used to mask their underlying terror of mortality and recreate the supply of their youth. This contrasts with healthy aging, which involves a natural shedding of the ego, a pivot toward mentorship, and a focus on deeper, more authentic connections. Because they lack empathy and true connection, these escapist attempts fail to provide comfort. They end up increasingly isolated and bitter as their power continues to diminish. If they continue to run from reality, they devolve into the old age narcissist. They become perpetually paranoid, demanding, and alienated from the very family and peers who might have provided support. Avoiding this bitter end requires a profound psychological shift. They must engage in the active, painful process of grieving. As the text here explains, the deepest grief in midlife involves the required mourning of the future that will never be. They must confront the reality that the grandiose life they dreamed of will never exist. True healing can only begin when their final, most deeply held fantasies of perfection are intentionally destroyed. Radical acceptance is the only viable path to achieving serenity in older age. This requires intentionally letting go of grandiose fantasies and accepting their own human imperfections, their mediocrity, and their limitations. Mourning failed dreams creates the foundation for transitioning from the terror of identity collapse toward a genuine, grounded inner peace.